Divorce? Girlfriend's cheating? Need to talk? Danny's got the help you need. Call Bonaducci, the life coach, at 1-800-252-1025. Because any problem you have, Danny's already lived through. Danny Bonaducci, your life coach.
That's me, and Danny Bonaducci has already lived through this. There was a lawyer on the other side, like Rick Jones. It's a special Rick Jones edition of Danny Bonaducci, life coach. If you got a problem, you want to know about alimony payments, about child support, you need to call right now, 1-800-252-1025. Danny Bonaducci, life coach, is brought to you by Goldberg Jones. Divorce for men. Call 1-800-DIVORCE. That's 1-800-DIVORCE. Let's go to the phones and talk to Justin in Tacoma. Hiya, Justin. How are you?
Hi, fine, thank you.
What can we do for you today? And by the way, I say we, I mean me and Rick Jones.
Okay, great. I have a question for the both of you. I have a daughter who I need to pay child support for probably another year and a half. She just moved out of her mother's home where I pay child support. So my question is, do I find a way to give my money, and it goes through support enforcement, do I find a way to give my money to the household she is now living, or do I just not need to pay anymore, and what is my process?
Ooh, great question. What's up with that, Rick?
Sure. Hey, Justin. What you can't do is you can't take the law into your own hands, so you can't just stop paying, because otherwise that's going to be a problem.
And you can't throttle the ex-wife.
No,
okay,
still
good.
Can't do that. The first thing you want to do is get on the phone with your support enforcement officer and let them know that there's been a change of residence and ask, basically ask their advice. Obviously, they're not an attorney, but they are somebody good to have on your side if they're willing to. So listen to what they have to say. Now, if they basically shut the door on you and say, continue to pay and we'll figure it out on our end, then you may want to consider bringing a modification regarding the support location. Which would, in essence, terminate support to her, but obviously somebody is in need of the same support. The other is if you still have a decent relationship with your ex, find out if she's willing to be stand up and pass along the money when it comes in, and you can, all it takes is 1 month trial to figure out if that's going to work or not.
All right, good luck there, Justin. I appreciate it. Hey, don't go to another phone call yet. I know a guy who has a question. Hey, he's right here. Danny Bonaducci has a question. My son, Dante, who is 12, is coming up here for an entire month. All month. Now, I pay a child support, and I pay a certain amount per month, yet he will not be supported by that woman for an entire month. Can I keep it?
No.
Why not?
Unfortunately, your support order probably doesn't have any provisions for abatement during periods of residential time.
Damn, I was sure that I could keep it if I was supporting the kid.
You didn't negotiate that back
then?
then?
No, I didn't think about any of this stuff. I just wanted out. All right.
Let's go to Tina in Tacoma. It's Danny Bonaducci, life coach, with special guest Rick Jones from 1-800-DIVORCE.
Hello.
Hi, Tina.
Hi. My question is, okay, my husband was previously married, and they got divorced in Oregon. But they were only together for 13 years, but she got half his mutual funds, half of his retirement, plus she gets half of his retirement check every month from Oregon, plus she gets $1,000 a month. And he, worked 35 years for this. She has a career. So can that be modified now? It's been 8 years, 9 years.
Well, there's all sorts of answers I've got for you on this one, but the answer is going to be no. 8 years later, a deal's a deal. Did he go to trial, or was this something that was ultimately agreed by settlement?
They just agreed by settlement, I guess.
All right. Well, the person to be upset with is probably not her.
So the person to be upset with is her husband for settling for that deal?
He agreed to the deal.
All right, well, there you go. I'm sorry about that. It's not going to work out for you exactly what you had hoped for.
But you have the answer, which is why you called. Let's put you on now with Jamie in Mount Vernon. And by the way, if you have a question for Danny Bonaducci, life coach, or for Rick Jones from Goldberg Jones, 1-800-DIVORCE, now would be the time to call 800-252-1025.
Cool.
So here's Jamie in Mount Vernon.
Hey, Jamie in Mount Vernon.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Okay, so my husband was served papers to continue child support after his daughter has turned 18, plus to pay for a portion of her education. Well, he was served incorrectly. His papers were found on the front porch. So we go to court on Monday, and the judge tells his ex-wife that she either has to reserve him or she has to amend the paperwork for serving. So she's 18. Her last day of school is yesterday. She graduates on Friday. I want to know when we will be in the clear for her serving us. When are we good that she cannot do that any longer?
First of all, that's a very interesting question and timely. A lot of people are going through that this month specifically, being June. Again, great question. There's a technicality here, which is your support order says that to raise this issue of post-secondary support, the action needs to be brought before the child is 18 or finishes high school, whichever is later. The child's already 18 in this case, so the issue is finishing high school. Now, one way to look at it, one way to interpret it that a judge or court commissioner could interpret is that finish high school is the actual date of graduation. Which is what you're talking about. What I've seen in practice is the court's willing to expand it a little bit to include the month of child support, because that's when the obligation is. So presumably there's a child support obligation for the month of June. So we've seen the court be gracious enough to the other side to allow that action to continue as long as they get effective service within the month of June. But again, that's really up for court interpretation.
All right, but basically, it probably means the month of June.
Yeah, let's call it that, because if they can't get June, then you've got a real solid argument to say that they did not effectuate service within the proper time.
Wow. Okay. And by the way, if you're wondering, hey, who the hell is that expert in the room? That's Rick Jones from Goldberg Jones. Call 1-800-DIVORCE. But if you'd like to talk to him, well, the phones are on fire. I'll wait until we need to give that phone number out again.
Here's Jim in Everett.
It's kind of like intimidating having Rick Jones right here in this room. Jim.
Hey, Danny. Hey, Jim. How are you?
Good.
Hey, I've been married for 32 years, and for the last 15 years, there's been kind of no relationship, if you catch that drift. I've been working all my life. She's never worked. Well, I shouldn't say that. She's been a stay-at-home mom, and I do believe that's working, but she kind of quit being a wife for about 15 years at least. And I keep telling her, okay, the kids are grown, they're out, you got to get a job. She's not getting a job. Because she's never had any job, I'm really worried that when I move to get a divorce, I'm going to lose everything. I mean, it's all going to go to her. What can I do to position myself to mitigate that?
See if you can get her to get a job. So you're on the right track. But the snapshot in time, if she was working, even at a relatively minimal wage, is going to look a whole lot better for you than if she's not.
So he's making the right call here, that if she had some kind of background in work, whatever it was, it would look better for him in the eyes of the court.
Exactly. If she has current work, not necessarily work history. So it really is the snapshot in time. So if you can get her employed, again, even at a minimal number, it's going to look a whole lot better for you. Now, I'm also going to spin it a little bit different way for you, which is this. You know, one of your frustrations is that you lose, half or more of your stuff, if you want to call it that. But the other, the clincher, and what really, kind of hurts is the spousal maintenance obligation that you might have. And it's a real fear in a situation that you've just described. But also understand, and I'm not trying to convince you to get divorced, but understand that every day that goes by right now, you're already paying spousal maintenance.
Oh, that's true.
It's an interesting way of looking at it.
I hadn't thought of it that way, because I not with my current wife, we've only been married a couple of years, it's still a bed of roses and stuff. If I'd known, because I just said, do what's ever fair to my divorce attorney, and she did. And I went, no, I didn't mean that. It's a big deal, and covering your bases. You can remain friendly if you want, although the odds are slim, but you need to actually think about what is going to be the outcome of your divorce and what is going to be the outcome of your assets, because it's going to drive you crazy even if you can afford it. That is all the time we have for Danny Bonaduce, Life Coach. Special edition with Rick Jones, 1-800-DIVORCE. Thank you very much for coming in, Rick.
Thank you.
And by the way, it kind of feels weird to say this when I'm sitting right here. Danny Bonaduce, Life Coach, special Rick Jones edition was brought to you by Goldberg Jones. Divorce for men, call 1-800-DIVORCE.
The Danny Bonaduce and Sarah Morning Show on the home of classic rock, 102.5 KZOK.